Good afternoon. You're listening to Gambling with an Edge. Now here are your hosts, Bob Dancer and Richard Munchkin.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Gambling with an Edge. I'm Bob Dancer.
And I'm Richard Munchkin.
Our guest today is Jimmy Jazz, who frequently has frequent flyer miles, gift cards, and low roller kind of bargains in Las Vegas. Welcome back to Gambling with an Edge, Jimmy Jazz.
Thanks, Bob. Thanks, Richard. It is always a pleasure to be here.
All right. So there's one that's only good for a few more weeks. So let's talk about that first. It has to do with Southwest Airlines, who've had lots of negative publicity recently.
Yeah, they did something rare, though. They actually admitted they screwed up and they needed to fix their situation. So that's almost unheard of in the corporate
world. That's un-American.
You made a mistake. Yeah. So anyway, we've talked about Southwest a whole bunch of times on this show. And in general, I think they're a very good airline and they have a very good frequent flyer program. And to me, their companion fare is just the best deal going. So what they did was they made it even easier for a limited time. So you can apply for one credit card. Annual fee is $69. Spend $4,000 in 3 months, and that will get you 30,000 miles plus companion fare till February 28th of 2020. So basically you get companion fare for 9 months to a year, depending on how quickly you accomplish the spend, for only opening up one credit card with, not a tiny spend, but certainly a manageable amount of spend. 30,000 miles should get you at least one ticket to someplace you want to go in the U.S. that Southwest flies. So you'll get your ticket plus a companion of your choice, and you both fly basically nothing. So it's good through March 13th. If people want to do this through a referral with me, I can certainly do that. If you use my link for the referral, please make sure it's the same offer. Sometimes companies will not give their best offer. I'm finding that to be less and less the case. So hopefully this will be one of those cases where they offer you the best available promotion and the referral bonus. The usual Chase rules apply. You can't have open more than five or more credit cards in 4 months. You can't have this particular credit card from Chase in those 2 years. So there's those little restrictions, but those are on any credit card you open. If you have a flight planned in 2023 and it's someplace Southwest flies, this is a great way to do that flight very inexpensive.
So wait, I have a question about that. So Jimmy, you just pay the yearly fee every year for the card?
I do, because what Southwest does, it's a $69 annual fee, and they'll give you 3,000 miles. So I value miles at 1.5 cents, so that's like getting $45. So the annual fee works out to be actually costing me, $24 out of pocket. I'm willing to pay that. Plus, they have some perks. Chase has some benefits here and there. The points you earn are 1-to-1 for normal spend. So to me, that's worth 1.5%. They have some deals for dining and travel where they get you a little higher rate. And if you use the card to spend for stuff on Southwest, food or services or whatever, those I think are 3 points per dollar spend. To me, it's well worth it to keep the annual card. If you want to do, a 1 year and done, I would recommend doing an almost 2 year and done, pay 1 year, and you're just grabbing the card for a year and canceling. I think it'll give you some longevity in the credit card.
But you still, even if you sign up again for the 69, of which you get so much back, you still keep free companion fare?
The companion fare is only good till February of 2024. Usually companion fare, you have to earn 135,000 points to get companion fare. So by flying, that's a whole lot of flying or a whole lot of spend. So they keep on making it easier to get companion fare. And to me, it's such a great deal. I don't know why they do it this way, but they do, and I'm glad they do. So the companion fare for this is kind of like an intro for 1 year. And at that point, you can see if you like it or not. And then if you want to do it the following year, there are certainly ways to do that.
Good. And given their negative publicity, they have incentive to do this.
Maybe that's why they're doing it, because this is to me the best companion fare offer I've ever seen from them.
Yeah, if you're Now, Bonnie and I fly places where Southwest goes, and so this is an excellent deal for us. I've not been playing the credit card game, but I think I am now a buyer of this one. All right.
Well, if you need a referral, I know somebody who has them.
Oh, well, good. You sent a link to Richard to post in the show notes. Does that give you the referral?
No, that's just a description. I will send you a link that'll show my.
And you want that?
You'll
And you
send
want
it to
Richard
me because
Yeah.
you'll have to send it to me. Yeah.
Yep, we'll do.
Perfect. All right. Let's talk about online gambling accounts, funding them with gift cards.
Okay, so BetMGM, $50 gift card, but $4.95 activation fee. So I looked on the back of the card to go through all the rules and regs, and I noticed they will also give you a $10 free bet. So a $10 free bet is worth $4.50 about once you pay the juice on your wager. So that takes down the activation fee 50 cents or so. That makes it a pretty good play. You can get 1% back on almost any credit card. It's a break even. The downside is it's only a $50 gift card. You're going to load any amount of money onto your. So then the second one I noticed was from Caesars, which is up to a $100 gift card with a $3.95 activation fee, but nothing to offset it. So I think I bought one of those just to see how it would work. Then I noticed what I thought would be the best option, which was DraftKings, which had a $100 gift card with no activation fee. So I thought this is good. I bought a couple of them. I downloaded them. I saw they registered to my account. It's great. I made a bet just to make sure the funding actually. I didn't do anything with the account. I bought 2 more gift cards. Did the same thing. I wanted to make sure that it was repeatable and worked. And then I made the mistake of actually withdrawing $200 because for the wagering I was going to do, and they locked my account. They told me I had committed suspicious activity, and to get it unlocked, I needed to send them a picture of my face. I said, okay, I'll do that. So I sent it to them, and it came out blurry or not clear enough. I like 3 times.
How do you get your face to hold your license?
I used my finger. But then they just said that's not good enough. We need receipts from your purchases. So I don't know about you, but I don't always keep receipts back 3 months for purchase. I happen to have one set. I had the gift card, the receipt, and there's a little activation thing you get too in case there's any issues with the card. So I sent them a copy of all that. And they said, okay, that's good, but that's only for one of the gift cards. I said, okay. So I sent them pictures of all 4 gift cards, and they said, you still don't have the receipts. So then I look at my online account with Kroger, and fortunately, they actually keep all your receipts. So it showed the purchases for the DraftKings gift cards. I sent them all that information, and they said, okay, well, now you have to agree to our terms and conditions to use these. Turns out that to use a gift card, there is actually a spend part of it. You have to run the money through to make the funds withdrawable. So I finally went through all of that, and after about 3 weeks of this, I finally got my income. Now, my fault 100% for not reading all their terms and conditions. It just didn't occur to me that I would need to have any sort of restriction, particularly a cash deposit. So I know they were talking about money laundering and stolen, but what's interesting is they didn't restrict the deposit. All they restricted was, so it seems
of course.
they're concerned about money laundering if it comes out of their pocket, but not so other.
Yeah.
That was a frustrating deal, but a good learning experience.
So, when you first said this, I was thinking, wow, this would be a great way to churn.
Absolutely.
But now it sounds like it is not going to be a good way to churn.
Well,
I mean, if they were offering $1,000 cards, then maybe. But yeah, I'm sure if you bought 5,000 worth of gift cards and deposited them all, it could take you months to get money out of them.
And I think your credit card company might say, hey, we notice you go to your store and you buy 1,000. They might have an issue. So then our local casino, which is now, it used to be Greektown, is now Hollywood Greek. They started a promotion, or actually allowed you to fund your gambling account through their app to where I could load money from a credit card into the app, plug my phone into the slot machine, and transfer them from the app to the slot machine. I thought, okay, this has got possibilities too. So Haley Marie gave it a test run and deposited $50, whole procedure.
No cash fee?
We're getting there.
Oh, okay.
So no cash fee from the credit card, but Hollywood charges a $10 per transaction fee.
Ooh,
Wow.
Yeah. But the first time they waive that, they give you the $10 back, and it also gets you a bonus on their drawings. They have these drawings once a week for people 50 and over, and I think the price is like $150. But if you have the app and you have money loaded in it, they give you an extra $150. So there is some benefit, but it wasn't the play I thought it would be. I would say the best play is if you're going to sign up for a DraftKings account, I would do whatever the max is on their free bet, 1,000 or 2,000. I'm not even sure what the. I would do that with the gift cards, and that would get you half of the spend if it's 2,000 on your Chase credit card we talked about above. So you would fund your account, get the little bit of whatever you earn from your credit card, and also clear half of your spend. I think that's the only real play. As far as an ongoing deal for loading your account, who knows? Maybe in the future they'll up the limits, reduce the fees. That was
but
my experience with funding online accounts.
in Michigan. And for
Yes.
those people who don't live in Michigan, this information is largely irrelevant for.
Well,
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that at all. I mean, it's
Okay.
BetMGM and DraftKings and Caesars, and there may be very similar kinds of things in other states that have legal online gambling. So,
yeah, I
you
can't
know,
believe it's a
it's well
Michigan only
worth
thing.
investigating. Yeah, absolutely.
And especially, I mean, if you're a low roller and you want to just fund the account and get a few points on your credit card, it's certainly not. You have to buy the card and then rip the label off the back, and then it's a little bit of work. You know, if that's worth it, maybe you get 5% spend. With Haley Marie and I, we have a deal with Kroger and gift cards that they're worth basically 20% to me through the store. So for me, it's still probably worth it. I will be hesitant, but it's got possibilities, and one of those things that should be monitored.
Well, also, you really don't play online, but for people who actually bet sports or whatever, I mean, usually they're betting a lot more money than this. But you know, for somebody who actually does want to run the money through, you know, it sounds like there are possibilities there.
Right. I don't bet sports much. I do some of the online casino stuff, the bonuses and the hustling. Actually, Hollywood Breakdown has this promo now where if I deposit $500 gambling account at the Cage, they give me $100 in free play Barstool's app. So I've been doing that once a week for the last year. So I run some money through there. Like I said, I think it's a good play possibly it'll get a little bit better. But I mean, if they opened it up and said you can buy a gift card for dollars and there was no activation fee, over advantage of that.
You think?
I think.
That might be an easy way to do spin, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned you do referrals. So how does this so referral means you get paid to do it. What do you give us if you get paid?
What I was doing in the past was splitting what I call the cash value, the referral. So I send you a referral link for a Chase card. Chase gives me points. We value them at a penny a piece. I would send you a check for $100 or half of that.
I thought you valued them at 1.5.
But that's if you use them for the airfare. I do it for the cash value.
I see.
But like if you go to the Points Guy or Million Mile Secrets or any of those sites, nobody I've ever seen splits the referral bonus except or gives you anything for it. Curious thing happened though. Two things. One, Chase started doing referrals for business cards, which they hadn't done before, and the value is $250 on. So that's a positive. The downside is we got a letter from Chase and a 1099 for $1,000, and we did a little investigating and looked. So that's the downside. So I have revised my limit, my split, where you get a third, I get a third. Between the IRS and my local government, they get a third. That's my new split for. Now, I don't know if they've actually done this in the past. This is the time I've had any significant of referrals. I don't know if every company does it. They'll start doing it for lower than $600 limits. But another development that makes the referrals of less valuable than they were, but still.
All right. You have a comment on credit cards versus and slot clubs and some connected somehow.
Yes. So I know various slot clubs do status match. Harrah's being one of them who used to, or Caesars. Also with Chase, World of Hyatt credit card. I got Pearl status at MGM. So it'd be cool if there was some place where I could see all the different. I might talk to Mr. Curtis at the Las Vegas Advisor and be interested in making as part of his newsletter or website. But it'd be great if I could go there and say, yeah, I have this level card, Noir member at what will that get me at Caesars? And then some of the tie-ins are a little complicated. You have a credit card that gets you hotel status gets you slot club status. I've heard a few of those deals before. The reason I mentioned that, like I said, it might be something worthwhile, and it would certainly fit into the Las Vegas Advisor's mission to be all end all full feature if it's doable.
Yeah, I can see a lot of desire for that. I think a lot of people would love to have that a site that would give you that information.
And the casino slot clubs stink about telling you what's going on, either because they don't know or they don't care. I'm not sure which.
Yeah.
But try and get the information out of the booth, exercising frustration.
All right. You play at the Four Queens in downtown Las Vegas.
I do.
They you're welcome. They recently merged their slot club with Binion. How have things changed?
Well, I think there's two levels. I think there's like a diamond and a double diamond. So we were consistently $300 to $400 in free play, maybe $100 in food. My last mailer, I $100 in no food credit, but still the room. What's interesting is Haley Marie still got the 4, but she tends to play not the best and will play the slots. So maybe that had something. Who plays pretty well, but also his offer was. So I'm thinking only the best game. They are, again, you'd be hard to get anything affirmable that says that. Based on my March mailer versus my February, they're definitely decrease the attractiveness of their best plays.
Well, I'm going to push back on that a little bit. They've actually taken out quite a few of their best machines, but the mailers varied month to month, and so there will be times where it's not clear, like your last year, your April versus your May versus your June versus your July. They were likely all different, and it's not always clear why. So basing the fact that, yes, our mailers went down in March, but we'll see what they are in April. We'll see what they are in May. It is still an excellent low roller play.
I'll agree with that. What I'm basing that on, our last trip was November, and then December, January, and February offers were all similar, and the March offer decreased for a friend, but not my wife. And I have a buddy in the Midwest, the sharpest of anybody. And he emailed me probably a week ago and said, hey, guess what? And sure enough, mailer and his March mailer were significant. I hope you're right, Bob, but I think they've got some criteria for downgrade.
And especially for those people who were getting mailers, separate mailers from Binion's and Four Queens, and are now getting one mailer for the two places. So that is another way.
I never played at Binion's for me, for my buddy, or Haley Marie. We'll see. Four Queens is still a great place. The clientele in the area is a less pretty than it used to be. The basic Hugo's, the brew pub. I'm not eliminating them. The rotation, it won't be a reason for a trip anymore. In addition, another reason, not the sole reason. I mean, previously I thought, they were pretty generous, and I don't think that'll be the case.
Yeah, but they still have $1.10 with a 0.17 club and a 0.31 comps. It's hard to find a local casino in Las Vegas or anywhere where it has that generous of an offer.
Oh, I agree with that 100%.
All right. So you've been getting sticky buttons on Bonus Streak Ultimate X.
Yeah, and this is one of those lessons learned and a little bit on how. So one of my local casinos has this game, and for better or worse, I play it. I mean, I fully admit I don't know the strategy. Pick up some loose multi, play it, because it's actually one of for me, the most fun games to play. So I was playing one time after a couple multipliers on this straight. Oh, this is really cool. So I did the touch screen, and I swiped across to hold them all, and then hit the deal button. So I think the fourth card didn't. In Bonus Streak, that's a huge error. It costs you not only and the multiplication of the multi, so it's a pretty expensive mistake. So I called the suit over, and she came and said what happened, and I explained it. And she said, "I'm going to review the film," which surprised me, and I'm not sure I completely believe it. But she was on the phone for a while and came back and said, "Nope, that wasn't a mistake. That was, we're not going to pay you." And I asked, "Could I see what you saw?" And she said, and I was playing while she was still there on the phone, your finger across all the cards. And she said, "Well, that's not a machine mistake. That's your mistake." And she said the only way she would to pay for the is if I held all the cards, it showed them all, and then between the time that I do that and hit the deal draw button. So this particular casino takes a very specific, very narrow view of what a machine error is. The lesson learned is if you're hustling bonus streak, you're not playing a lot of play slow, take a look at the machine. And the other thing is even if that was a machine problem or the touch screen, to reinstate the hand is almost impossible in bonus streak multiplication up. So even if she said, "Okay, you had your straight, I'll give you," that doesn't correct for the players, nor get me back to the previous state. Lesson learned is if you play those games and the machines aren't in good shape, be very, very, if you make a mistake.
Yeah. And so after you learned that sliding your finger across doesn't work on that machine, why did you continue to do it?
To show her. I did it and I would stop and I would look at it. I wanted to show her that action didn't result in holding. I don't do that anymore. I sit there and I play one finger on one very slowly.
Well, I play them fast, but I give it a second before I hit the button.
I think I give it more than a second on these games now. Because like I said, if you're playing that and you're just going for the money, you're going to play 5 hands. Or if it takes you 10 seconds for a hand instead of 3 seconds or 2 seconds, it's really no big. Well worth the.
All right. Let's move on. Let's talk about safety deposit box.
All right. So I know you've been a pretty big proponent of them, and you've mentioned them on a couple different shows. And I think what is that you're not supposed to put cash and you're not supposed to put valuables in this. So I would say I think a lot of people do both of those. And if you read your contract a little bit, if something happens and the bank actually gets robbed, somehow breaks into boxes and steals all you don't have a lot of. And that's granted a very uncommon. What's more is the bank merges or the branch closes, and they have to somehow transfer those assets to a different location or a different company. So you have to rely to make the transfer work, secure your assets. They usually tell you usually know a bank is. So I would suggest if that's the case, get everything out of your safe deposit box, close it down. Again, you don't have a whole lot of recourse if.
I think that's a highly, highly unlikely scenario. I mean, I can't remember the last time I heard of a bank safety deposit box being robbed.
Not robbed, but the second one is the more common one.
Yeah, and especially for people who have boxes around the country in cities they don't visit often, that can be a problem. Also, I've mentioned on the show before that I know somebody who the bank closed their accounts and told them they didn't want them as a customer anymore because they were going in and out of their safety deposit box too often, and the bank assumed it meant that they were keeping cash in there. So that's something to be aware of as well.
That might be the official reason, but my guess is the bank really doesn't make any money on a safe deposit. It's a lot of maintenance and procedure, and every time you come in, they come over and assist you. I think it's just a manpower. They really don't want you in there once a week looking at it because it takes one of their employees away from doing something else. I think that's more the reason why they don't want to do it. And at least in my area, finding a safe deposit is getting tough. A lot of branches don't have them, and it's a money deal.
Well, for casino gamblers, many poker rooms have safety deposit box, and they're specifically so that players can keep their chips and cash in there between sessions in the casino. So this is a very common thing for poker rooms to have. And I don't know what the rules are about if that casino is held up, but this is what players use them for. They put their chips in there. They put their money in there.
Right, but it's not a government-backed, FDIC regulated bank. It's the casino. So yeah. I think the rules are a little bit different. All I'm saying, though, is if you have a safe deposit box or your bank merges, grab your stuff out. Potentially bad.
Okay. But if you're not keeping money or valuables in there, what are you supposed to keep in your safety deposit?
I guess your will, your trust, list of passwords, stuff like that.
Deed to your house. Yeah, that kind of stuff. Some people keep their birth certificate, and passport,
Passport,
stuff
right.
like that.
All right. Frank B was on the show a week or two ago. And one of the things we talked about is casinos resetting slot or video poker machines. And you came across this on Bonus Streak Ultimate X?
Mm-hmm. You know, when I go looking for a play, I'll cycle through all the combinations, and I won't say frequently, probably at least 15. I've seen the hand 3, 4, 5, 6 of spades and hearts as the hand played.
In that
And
order?
I doubt, yeah, in that exact order, in that exact suit. So I doubt that the players have left it that particular hand that many. So I was wondering if that's a default set the machine or the machine popped to reboot. And more to my concern is whether that's a way to wipe out the machine and then it goes to bad. So I don't know. I've seen that a lot of times. If you have any insight.
Well, I have seen, I don't check out, that's not one of the machines I vulture, but I've definitely seen something similar on regular Ultimax machines. There it's 2, 3, 4, 5 suited of spades, and I forget the fifth card. And definitely one particular casino, I see that again and again. And so after a while I get the message, this is not a good thing to be, they're obviously checking the machine. So
I mean, to me, that should be illegal for them to wipe out the. It seems like you're changing the base play of the game, and I'm sure they'll have an argument against that. But that just seemed pretty much blatant cheating. But
Yeah, it is. It is. You're altering the random nature of the game, and blackjack players have had this argument for 40 years or whatever, that preferential shuffling, which is essentially the same thing when the dealers are, counting, and whenever the deck goes positive, they decide to shuffle. They've been doing that forever. And yeah, it is cheating, but it's cheating that the gaming control board allows.
So I don't know what corrective action you can take. I guess you could refuse to go to casinos that do that. Then again, you're going to the casino play the game anyway. It sounds like it's a little bit of cost of doing business.
yeah, bringing it to their attention, showing that you're aware of all this and checking it is not a smart move.
I'll just tell them that 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, not my lucky hand. I'll have bad luck.
Good luck with that one.
Yeah.
And then you won't have to worry about whether or not you're going to frequent that casino anymore. All right. We're taking a break from Jimmy Jazz. We'll be back. Brief word from our sponsors. Richard.
If you're serious about card counting, the Blackjack Apprenticeship membership is a great way to learn, train, network, and get the resources you need to succeed. We've had quite a few guests on Gambling with an Edge who exclusively trained and got their start through Blackjack Apprenticeship. Check out the website at blackjackapprenticeship.com. They have member forums, training software, and guides to help you learn. That's blackjackapprenticeship.com, and you will find a link in the show notes.
Videopoker.com is the best place to play lots of games. If you sign up for the gold membership, $8.95 a month or $79.95 a year, this allows you to get correction on most of the games. Game of the week is Spin Poker Deluxe. It pays the same as Spin Poker, which has 9 lines active, except Spin Poker Deluxe has 20 lines active, making it a 100 coins per play game. The expected value in the strategy for this game is the same as the single line version, but if it's a good game, you can get a lot more coin through than you can in the regular Spin Poker.
If you're interested in getting an edge at sports betting, then unabated.com is a great resource. Founded by frequent Gambling with an Edge guests, Captain Jack and Rufus Peabody, Unabated is designed for both new and experienced sports bettors. Their real-time odds screen, tools, and calculators take a lot of the guesswork out of trying to quantify your edge. There's also plenty of free education and instruction to help you along your journey to becoming a sharper sports bettor. You can currently take advantage of a 7-day free trial to decide if the premium membership at Unabated is right for you.
All right. Beverage savings at local casinos when dining. What do you have for us here?
You know, a lot of the casinos have the self-serve option available, and our local casinos have a food court. So I can either grab a beverage floor and walk over, give them $4 in comp, the same beverage. So we choose the first. It's not a fortune, but I mean, I would rather I had the couple in comps a year, the casino have it, and it's not really that hard to do. Now, tied into this, my local casino, for the first time ever, is giving you one-to-one free play for your comp down, which they've never done. Currently, if I give me $1 and on one couple days in March, they're giving you $1 in free for $1, which I'm not sure they understand what they're doing. Going to be giving away a quite realize that that's their issue. The significance to me, though, is that it's going to affect how I play a little bit. I do some of the advantage slot play. Say, for example, you have a play number that's 32 on a given machine, and previously you're getting 0.2 in cash back, and 1.3, the 1.3% in comp, 0.6. With this promotion, you're getting the full 1 point. Now you're getting 1. So maybe instead of playing that number, if your play number is 30 is a play. So it gives you a little more stability on what you can play. And also between now and when I can redeem those at 1-to-1 or the gift shop rate. So I have one buddy who's a local hustler, and he's probably got 10,000, 15,000. So that's going to be a significant chunk of cash for him. And based on some other folks I've seen, that's not. So I think on this particular date, they're going to be their bottom line doesn't look so good for March.
So there's no limit. You can cash what you have.
I read the rules real quick. It just said 1-to-1 comps for.
I'm guessing it's going to come out to be $100 per day or something of that nature. But we shall see.
I'll take a look and I'll drop you a note. But
whatever it is, I would try to do as much as possible on the first day because
right.
It may not last.
Well, they're doing 2-to-1 on a couple days and then 1-to-1 the last day. I think it's Wednesdays in March. The first 3 times you can do 2-to-1, and the last time it's 1. I don't see why anybody would do the 2-to-1 part unless you're like around on that last day. But I've seen enough silly things happen in casinos probably happen. So
well, and more than that, depending on when it starts, it might start at midnight the night before. It might start at 3 a.m. or 6 a.m. depending on when the casino day is. The smart play is to do it when it starts.
Absolutely.
So it could easily be gone in an hour after it starts.
Well, Haley Marie and I have, a couple $100, maybe $500. It's a good play, but it's not like my buddy who's $10,000.
Right.
And he's there every day and all kinds of weird hours. So for him, it should definitely work. For me, it wouldn't be worth, getting there at 4 a.m, a fairly modest payday. I'll leave it for the big hitters. I'll take advantage if I can.
All right. You saw an interesting sign at the Cosmopolitan.
Actually, I saw a picture of a sign at the Cosmopolitan. One of the local hustlers came up to me and said, "Hey, look at this." And he showed me a picture, and it showed a slot machine, Cosmopolitan. And I didn't get down the exact wording, but words to the effect of, if you play this machine can be in a persistent state where it has an advantage, and there might be people milling about trying to get you off.
Wow.
So yeah. And I looked online. I couldn't find any other reference to it. But I talked to another local hustler buddy, and he said, yeah, he's heard or seen the same. I'll do a little more digging for that one. It sounds like they are, at least at Cosmo, getting a little more hustlers.
Now, is Cosmo, are they part of the MGM system yet? They were going to be. I don't know. Has that merger taken place?
That I don't.
Because if it is part of the MGM system, then you would think that all the properties would have the same kind of sign.
You would think.
Well, and also, wasn't MGM the first to start backing people off of slot machines? I know I heard stories about back-offs at MGM, New York, Mirage. Mirage is no longer MGM. Was a while back. So
it's hard to find a casino that's faster than the El Cortez at that. You might be right. Back to a subject we were talking about 5 minutes ago on getting your beverage at beverage machines instead of in the food court. That actually can work at with higher end beverages, wines. There are casinos where they have a decent wine selection at the bars for players of certain status. And so you can get a healthy pour for a $5 tip and take that into they're nice restaurants with you for the for a glass of wine that would cost $20 or $25 in the restaurant. The bartenders in these special lounges will give you a healthy pour for a modest amount. It's the same kind of idea.
And we went to Andiamo a while, and I was meeting a buddy there, and he actually walked in with a gin and tonic, a plastic cup, and sat down. The waiter came over, a nice glass, poured his gin and tonic.
Yeah, Andiamo is in the D, which
Correct.
is the circus system in downtown Las Vegas. All right. We want to thank you, Jimmy. Interesting ideas as always. At the end of our show, we have a recommended section. Earlier in the day, I asked Richard if he had one, and he said he didn't. Has that changed?
Nope, hasn't changed. I got nothing this week.
Uh-huh. Well, all right. So then I will do one. For those of you who are interested in storytelling, are listening to storytelling, and are planning to be in Las Vegas on Saturday, March 11th, 7 p.m., there's a story slam with two of the people who are my favorite storytellers ever. One is Richard, and the other is me, although that last is supposed to be a joke. One of the other storytellers is one you would not have heard of, Dorothea Deli, who is also an excellent storyteller and well worth listening to. But it's not a name that most of you would have heard of. The topic will be first response. At least a few of the stories are not really closely related to the topic. It'll cost you $1 to get in.
Well, at least $1. It's pay what you can, pay what you want.
Yeah, they said if anybody wants to pay $100,000, they will accept it. So
well,
although
it is a nonprofit, it's an art center, so if you don't have to just pay $1, it would be nice to pay what you think is reasonable.
Yeah. Now my story is true, and it surrounds things happening in 1954 when I was 7 years old. Some people said I was a real stinker back then, which I'm sure our listeners would find hard to believe. Jimmy, do you have a recommended for our listeners?
I do. A while back, there's something called a Wonder Wall. It's basically a little bigger than a typical wall. What it has is these plastic inserts that will a bunch of credit cards, and they make different sizes. You can get the that'll hold from 8 credit cards to 64. Now, the way they do that is they double up on each slot. So I bought one of the 64 slot ones, and I will use it only for singles. So I'll be able to place 32 cards in there. So I carry about 10 credit, license, health card, some other stuff. So for me, it's an easy way to organize it, keep it handy. It actually fits in pretty much the pants I wear. If I wear dress pants, and I have a button on the rear pocket. Sometimes I can't button that button. Besides that, it works pretty well for me. Wonder Wallets, I guess, aren't manufactured, but they're still for sale. You can get them on Amazon or eBay. They're $15. And the inserts, though, is curious. So the 64 card insert was $10. You bought it for $15. It's kind of funny on the pricing. But I talked to the guy who used to own it. He said he doesn't manufacture. He provides the inserts as a service. So it's not really a moneymaker for him. And he's gone on to me, it's a very convenient way to organize credit cards. You could actually dual wallet, have Slack Club cards, and I find it very useful. I'm always looking for better organized.
Very good. All right. Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you, Richard. Go out and hit lots of royal flushes, everybody. Good day.